Southwest Germany. In 2016, a team of archaeologists had been working at a dig site near the Rhine River, not far from the town of Mainz. Herbert Lutz of the Natural History Museum in Mainz was the team leader. As reported by USA Today, Lutz and his team from the museum had been working the site for 17 years. Mainz lies near the Neander Valley, where Neanderthal bones were first discovered in 1856, an area brimming with connections to human history and natural history. The sediments of the Proto-Rhine River near Mainz date back 10 million years and are famous for yielding fossils of various mammals. The site has produced fossils of species like Dinotherium, hornless rhinos, and other Miocene fauna. It was the last day of the season. The team was literally folding up the tents and storing the gear in the trucks. Some of the team members came up to Lutz and presented to him two teeth that appeared to be from some strange monkey species. Archaeology World 2021, quote, "Just in the last second, these two teeth came to light. We really weren't expecting such a tremendous discovery," end quote, Lutz said. Lutz and his top team members kept the discovery under wraps for a year, storing the specimens in a secret location. They were uncertain about which species the teeth belonged to. Archaeology World. News of the sensational discovery was only made public recently, since the team who dug up the ancient teeth wanted to be sure the find was as significant as they had initially believed. Thanks to the stratigraphic layers where the teeth were discovered, researchers were able to accurately date them to approximately 9.7 million years ago. The discovery was announced to the German and international media in late 2017. The top German media, Deutsche Welle, declared, "The history of mankind now has to be rewritten." Times of Israel, 2017, Lutz. "The Mainz teeth discovery," quote, "This is a tremendous stroke of luck, but also a great mystery," end quote, he said. Continuing from the Times of Israel, quote, "I don't want to overdramatize it, but I would hypothesize that we shall have to be rewriting the history of mankind after today," end quote. Mainz Mayor Michael Ebeling told reporters during a press conference. Lutz in USA Today, quote, "It's completely new to science, and it is a big surprise because nobody had expected such a tremendous, extremely rare discovery. To find a completely new species, nobody expected that," end quote. Mainz Miocene Apes. A quick note, sometimes Mainz is spelled with an E at the end, and sometimes it is spelled without the E. Both are correct. Lutz and his team released only a preprint. No paper has ever been published on the Mainz specimens. This absence could be attributed to ongoing debates about the fossil's classification, institutional hesitation, or a lack of consensus among researchers. Abstract from the preprint. These are the northernmost occurrences of Miocene primates in Europe. Both teeth, the crowns of an upper left canine and an upper right first molar, are exceptionally well preserved and obviously come from the same body of unknown sex. Continuing, their sedimentological environment and the accompanying faunal elements point to an age shortly before the mid-Milesian crisis at 9.7 million years ago. Note, the Mid-Milesian was an era of great extinction of various mammalian species. Continuing from the preprint, the canine reveals intriguingly potential hominin affinities. Its lingual outline is clearly diamond-shaped, its ratio of lingual height. Continuing, within the range of Australopithecus afarensis, Ardipithecus ramidus, Ardipithecus cadaba. Continuing, from all the information gathered, the question arises if the newly discovered main species may be related to members of the African hominid tribe. A year earlier, in 2015, Danuvius G was unearthed in Germany, providing crucial insight into Miocene apes. The Danuvius discovery was made in Bavaria, southern Germany, while the Mainz teeth were found in the Rhineland, western Germany. Geographically, these two sites are separated by approximately 300 kilometers. Danuvius was discovered by a team led by Madeleine Bohm, University of Tübingen, at the Hammerschmiede site in southern Germany. Madame Bohm is a native of Bulgaria. David Bagoon, professor of evolutionary biology at the University of Toronto, contributed his expertise, helping to analyze and contextualize the findings. Naturally, Bagoon and Bohm initially attributed the Mainz teeth to Danuvius, given the morphological similarities and the geographical closeness of the discoveries. However, further analysis uncovered distinct dental traits and significant stratigraphic differences, prompting them to recognize the Mainz teeth as belonging to a separate species. The common ancestor of Danuvius G and the Mainz ape, Graecopithecus fontani, is likely to be an early member of the Graecopithecine tribe. The Graecopithecines were a more robust species adapted to colder climates. Note, fellow paleoanthropology enthusiast Erika at Gutsick Gibbon goes into the Graecopithecines in detail at her channel in a 3-part series. Both Danuvius, which would include Mainz Miocene Ape, and Graecopithecus share traits that suggest they were part of the same lineage which thrived in Europe 12 million years ago to 9 million years ago. Upright walking. Dated to 11.6 million years ago to 9 million years ago, Danuvius represented an early species with significant adaptations for upright walking. Smithsonian. Danuvius, about the size of a baboon, with long arms, the creature had flexible elbows and strong hands, capable of grasping, which suggests that it could have swung from tree to tree like a modern great ape. Darwin had theorized that big brains came first in hominids before bipedalism. Scientists now recognize that Darwin got it wrong. Bipedalism emerged first, with larger brains developing much later. The major shift to larger brains likely occurred during the evolutionary leap from Australopithecines to the genus Homo 2.6 to 1.9 million years ago. Danuvius likely evolved bipedalism by walking upright among the branches. This adaptation made the transition to ground walking relatively seamless when he eventually descended from the trees. Balkan and Anatolian Miocene apes 12 million years ago to 6 million years ago. The Central European Miocene apes share a profound evolutionary bond with their Balkan and Anatolian counterparts, bridging regions and shaping the story of primate ancestry. Graecopithecus, often referred to as El Greco, lived approximately 7.2 million years ago. Specimens were discovered in Bulgaria and Greece. David Begoun, Princeton Press, 2017, quote, "Our discoveries of Graecopithecus outline a new scenario for the beginning of human history," end quote. Graecopithecus has an amazing story, a tale of daring discoveries, specimens lost in dusty museum archives, and a tumultuous backdrop of war in Athens, Greece. Orianopithecus, dated at 9 million years ago, was discovered in the 1970s by a pair of French paleontologists working in the Axios Valley of Macedonia. This late Miocene ape is considered a pivotal piece in the puzzle of human evolution. Anadoluvius, the newest discovery among the Euro-Miocene apes announced in 2023, boasts fossil specimens that are shockingly well preserved. The Archaeologist, 2023, Graecopithecus from adjacent Greece and Bulgaria, and Anadoluvius are a group that most closely resembles the earliest known hominids. Out of Europe into Africa. Beginning with the Miocene apes around 11 to 12 million years ago, the evolutionary timeline reveals a pattern of multiple remigrations into Africa from the Eurasian continent. In 1960, Louis Leakey and his team uncovered fossils of Kenyapithecus in eastern Kenya, a Miocene ape thought to be a pivotal ancestor of both chimpanzees and gorillas, shaping our understanding of primate evolution. But there is a paucity of fossil evidence in Africa after Kenyapithecus, starting around 10 million years ago. Sahelanthropus chilensis and Orion tugenensis are the next to emerge in the fossil record, appearing 5 to 6 million years ago. This time he suggests a scenario in which Miocene apes from Europe migrated southward, potentially giving rise to the hominid lineage in Africa, while chimpanzees and gorillas trace their ancestry back to Kenyapithecus. Both the Euro-Miocene apes and the Afro-Australopithecines show striking anatomical similarities, including traits linked to arboreal locomotion, such as curved phalanges for grasping and climbing. Additionally, some Miocene apes and Australopithecines share elongated limbs, particularly arms, which are adaptations for climbing. The Miocene ape canines are smaller, and the shape is more similar to the Australopithecines than to African apes. This is a strong indication of a possible direct lineage to the Australopithecines. In the 2023 paper on Anadoluvius, the authors point out that the Euro-Miocene apes had smaller canines comparable to those of Australopithecines in East Africa from 4.2 to 1.9 million years ago. Ancient Origins 2023, quote, "Our findings suggest that hominines not only evolved in Europe, but spent over 5 million years evolving there and spreading to the eastern Mediterranean before eventually dispersing into Africa, probably as a consequence of changing environments," end quote, said David Begoun, University of Toronto. Continuing, these fossils offer the strongest proof to date that this group of early hominines originated in Europe before dispersing into Africa. A European radiation and migration that ultimately leads to the Australopithecines in Africa would present a serious challenge to traditional narratives of mainstream evolutionary science. And even stronger evidence has emerged. 6-million-year-old Miocene ape footprints have been found on an isolated beach in Crete, Greece. The Trachillos footprints are believed to be the oldest known of the hominids. Their presence in Europe challenges the traditional African origins narrative, supporting the hypothesis that Miocene apes may have migrated southward into Africa. Opposition to out-of-Europe origins. As the mainstream media initially headlined in 2017, the two Mainz teeth could change the course of human evolutionary history. The pair of perfectly preserved Mainz Miocene ape teeth provide a key piece of the puzzle, linking Danuvius to the Balkan and Anatolian Miocene apes. The groundbreaking discovery by Lutz and his team fundamentally alters our understanding of Miocene ape and early hominid migration patterns. This out-of-Europe origins hypothesis challenges the long-held dominance of African origins. Ultimately, the evidence strongly suggests a direct evolutionary line from the Euro-Miocene apes leading all the way to the Afro-Australopithecines, including the famous Lucy. Naturally, academics and anthropologists with a vested interest in African origins remain cool to this alternative perspective. Of course, the out-of-Europe origins hypothesis doesn't sit well with certain politicians who hold a more internationalist perspective. Such evidence might serve to reinforce narratives of exceptionalism of ethnic Europeans and run counter to those politicians who have an agenda of replacement migration. As more fossils emerge from southern Europe, denial of the out-of-Europe hypothesis will only grow harder for the skeptics in mainstream science. Acknowledgement of such archaeological evidence will become an undeniable challenge even for those politicians anxious to push globalist agendas. Herbert Lutz faded into obscurity, and the two main specimens have since slipped into the shadows of history, largely forgotten. One plausible explanation suggests they are quietly stashed away in a drawer in the basement of the Mainz Natural History Museum. Another possibility, the two specimens have been deliberately misplaced or lost. Thank you for watching. There's much more to come on the Miocene apes on this channel, so please subscribe. We'll see you soon.